Quentin Hoffman. It's time to hope for the future and splice into the future.
Mike, are we jacking in? Is that what the kids do?
That's
That's
right.
what.
We're
That's what.
jacking in and jacking off. You know what I mean?
Hey, we're jacking off the servitor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there he is, our Splicer servitor of the House of Light. That's right. You're seeing it right here, folks. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
longtime Destiny fan, look at this. It's a lady and a fallen like working together. Um, Already an interesting start to this new season of Destiny 2,
Mm-hmm.
season of the Splicer, which is the new season of Destiny 2, like I said. And it just dropped today as we're recording this. And as always, we're horny. I'm specifically horny for Destiny all the time, so we're gonna look at
And
some
I'm slowly becoming horny for Destiny,
yeah.
as we
Again,
originally planned to do this a co-op viewpoints, but then my PlayStation's like, oh, you technically own the season pass, but then Destiny's like,
yeah,
you don't actually own the season pass, so you can't play.
yeah.
I'm
By
like,
the
I
way,
think so.
yes, it seems like there's some unfortunate shenanigans going on with
Mm-hmm.
the launch of this season right now because I'm seeing a lot of reports of like it's not necessarily just you that's having that problem. I've seen multiple people having that issue of like some people are just straight up not able to buy the season off of the store somehow for whatever weird
Yeah.
reason. Like which seems like a weird miss kind of bad in hindsight thing from Bungie to not have that easily available. But anyway, yeah, with a whole new season of Destiny comes like a whole new slew of content and
Mm-hmm.
updates and other things. This is just the first week, and like as with like kind of seasons have been so far, like a lot of stuff comes over time. So we're just gonna kind of you'll just kind of see the opening bits of the season here, which generally is like a larger update. So you can see I'm in a whole new section of the Helm, and the Helm
Yeah.
has a map like now.
Mm-hmm.
You can see there's this whole new section with Elixni or the Fallen,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do bounties for them like other places, and there's also this new override 6-player activity which we'll hop into in a
Mm-hmm.
second here. The Engram stuff is still here. The Umbra Engram stuff, you can see that updated. That's basically now like its whole own tab with
Mm-hmm.
engrams and like little objectives to unlock them and get all of the upgraded and new weapons for the season, which is cool. I like
Yeah,
that system a lot.
as I've been trying to get back into Destiny 2, like slowly,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been playing every now and then with you, Mike, on
Yeah,
like Saturdays. And I was like, man, Destiny, and like you've been giving me all the like the cool shit that's happening in between all the seasons. And I'm just like, man, I really want to get back into Destiny because it's been so long. I put so much time into Destiny 1.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think for me, this is a great place to come back into it. And I think for a lot of other
Totally.
people who want to get back into Destiny, this is also a great like entry point. Um,
Yeah, yeah. Like I think like I always go back and forth of like I think compared to Destiny last year where like you always have the thing of like is it better to just jump into those bigger Destiny expansions and just play there, or
mhm.
like come into these new seasonal offerings, where last year they were kind of light seasonal offerings, and they were also like limited time. So it was like, hey, for the time of this like 4-month season, you're only gonna be able to do the see and do the story and activities and
Yeah.
all the stuff is only there. Where now it's like, hey, this stuff is just kind of permanently in the game, at least
Mhm.
until probably the next expansion drops like next year.
Yeah.
I think is what they've been saying. So this stuff will be around for a while. So that's nice because it makes the game feel fuller. Because like a lot
Mhm.
of these updates come with a whole slew of stuff like new ability, like new basically there's all kinds of stuff you can go in these things. There's like all kinds of new guns to get, like these cool like fallen themed guns. Like here's an auto rifle that's new for
That
this
just looks
season.
so fucking cool. I got a sidearm from doing that like the seasonal mode.
Yeah,
And it looks so cool. And I'm like, man, I really just want to use this. I think I have a grenade launcher too.
yeah.
Um,
There's yeah. Another thing is like they also like reprised a bunch of weapons too. Like,
Mhm.
here's the shotgun for the season, which is also pretty nice.
Bro.
Where's one of these guns? I have to find it. I think there's one. It's not the machine gun. I think there's a scout rifle. That's this. Where is it at? If Hung Jury's back, also I'll point that out. A Destiny 1
Yeah.
favorite. And also, if you're a higher tier player who's doing like Grandmaster Nightfalls, there's an Adept version, which is pretty
Oh,
dope.
looks very good too.
Yeah, looks great. Where is?
Yeah. As a Destiny 1 player, Hung Jury was a must play if you ever dived into
Yes, here we
Trial.
go. So another weird thing is they brought back future War Cult weapons from the year 1 of Destiny.
Really?
Destiny.
Which
They brought back a whole slate of them because there's a. Yeah, we'll get into
which makes sense.
Yeah, we'll get into some story stuff, but like here, maybe we can go to this thing. We might get a message actually. Let's see who's gonna talk here. Okay, it's the crow.
Yeah, I think after you do the first like a first run all the way through of the new mode, you
Yeah,
get
yeah, I think
at
you're
that
right.
station you get a thing from Lakshmi 2, I think.
Yes, Lakshmi 2 is back, the leader of the future War Cult. And that was just like super weird to see. It was just like, wait, what? We've not seen her since like Destiny, the start of Destiny 2.
Yeah, but it's cool
cool.
because they explain it in that message, which we'll see later. That, excuse me, I'm a burpee all of a sudden. Is that oh, there's a new fragment too. I gotta go check that out.
There's new aspects for each class as well. Yeah, I was gonna point that out. But yeah,
they explain it in the thing that the future War Cult.
We'll jump into the new activity. Let's go ahead and jump in.
That they experimented with Vex tech to kind of like see the future, obviously. So like future War Cult.
Yes.
And then there's some good lore bits in there. And like I will say, there's like a new hub, quote unquote. Immediately when I was in that new hub, which we'll see.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, yeah. That's why I was hoping. Like, I jumped on an alternate character. Like, I started on my Warlock and did the intro quest, which is really cool, and kind of takes you through like a couple areas, and including that other area, which we might go to at the end of the video, just in case people don't want to be immediately spoiled on some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's really cool from multiple angles. As like, if you have done a bunch of raids in Destiny 2, you will probably immediately recognize that area when you load into it, and that's immediately cool. And also like a lot of the lore that's been in like cards and like Grimrock cards in Destiny 1, or like fucking like lore that was from Forsaken years. Yeah. Like, you kind of just like see a lot of it in game in that area, and it's like, wow, they I'm happy they're continuing to do this, because they started doing some of that in Season of the Chosen, the previous season, with like a lot of the Cabal stuff, and like interacting with Kydal and having messages from Kydal and having them like talk over missions and stuff, like hearing more about the Cabal as a race rather than just like the enemies we have to shoot. Like, you're getting a lot more of that stuff in the game rather than just like in some lore tabs, which is like really nice to see.
And like I was we were planning to do this recording earlier, but it didn't work out. But now we're doing it, and like I was just futzing around in that zone, and I was just walking around, and there was just like hold square to interact, and I was like, wait, what? And I heard all these lore. I went around and got all the lore things, and I immediately texted you. I'm like, bro, this is fucking cool.
Yeah,
like
it's awesome.
It's not really stuff that I've seen Destiny do. I've seen the occasional, you walk around in a thing, like walk around a an open area, like a space, and then you'll see a glowing thing and you interact with it and you get like a minor lore thing, but nothing as so like, hey, go check this out. Like, you just go wander around and it's someone, I'm not going to spoil it, giving you lore stuff about what's happening. And I will say these missions are just so cool, Mike. I'm really
So basically, as you can see, is that oh fuck, that's an overload guy. I didn't bring overload stuff. That was not a smart choice of me.
Yeah, whatchamacallit. So yeah, they brought back Overload, Barrier, and Stun, obviously. So those are kind of like the stuff that's happening with Destiny right
Yeah,
now.
that's been like pretty much a regular for Grandmaster or like
Mhm.
higher tier like Nightfall difficulty like missions and stuff. They're in this too, and they're in like battlegrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Basically, as you can see, just to kind of give I guess like a little breakdown of this mode. Like this is only like my third or fourth time doing this mode. It's like even I'm still learning some things about it, admittedly. But like the main
Yeah.
concept like is you're defeating enemies. Like I've pretty much so far have seen Vex or Cabal in this mode so far,
Okay.
and just for this first week, it's just in Europa. But
Yeah.
they've already shown on the seasonal calendar that like as the weeks go on, like I think even like next week, I've already said there will be another one in another area, and like the
Mhm.
week after that, there'll be another one after that. Even, I think.
Yeah, and I think this mode reminds me of, you remember like that first season after Shadowkeep where it was like the Vex.
Yeah,
I forget
and
what the mode was
the
called.
that was yeah. Shoot, I forget what it's called too, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Um,
Yeah, because there was like that mode, and there's also
and it
I
reminds
think
me of
like
like where you're catching the modes of lights. I forget. It was
yeah.
another.
So
That's what these two remind me of. It's like a merge of that, and I think it's a really cool merge.
yeah, so like it for me, it reminds me of because when I came in with Season of Arrivals, which was the season before Beyond Light. The big thing
Mhm.
with that was like it added a new public event that was basically kind of like Gambit in like the in a public event form,
Yeah.
where it was like you're defeating enemies and picking up motes and dunking them into this thing to then like basically like summon a bunch of taken to like take out.
Mhm.
Or this is like a little bit more involved, where like yeah you're defeating enemies, you're picking up these motes. As you can see, I can hold up to
Yeah.
10 of them to defeat enemies. Um, as you deposit them to those points, you'll open up those portals that you can
Mhm.
then go get these data pads that you then deposit into this thing. But also like other little random things happen, like champions will spawn, or like a platforming challenge will happen where you have to like jump
Mhm.
up it, and like they'll kind of just break out in certain moments because you can see as like we're depositing emotes, there's like that blue bar over there is going up over time. I think as you hit
Yeah.
points in that bar, it'll like dictate when those things happen.
Yeah. And I think for the important part of this mode for me is that if you remember correctly, in the one where it's like the game quote unquote thing, like but it's a public event,
Hmm.
the timer stopped. In this,
Yeah,
the timer resets every um,
yeah,
which I personally really like because that gives players a lot of more like flexibility and rushing to get activities done. You can kind of
right,
focus more on like the combat and collecting materials and doing more team based stuff than, oh, let's just kill all the enemies as quick as we can to try to rush through it.
right.
And I think that's a really like smart move from a design perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I think like I think ultimately the big thing with this mode is it's always going to be compared to kind of the first, and like in a lot of people's eyes the best six player activity, which is the menagerie,
Hmm.
which was added after Forsaken, and that like and also like I played a decent amount of that, and it was pretty awesome.
It was, yeah.
But I would also but I also I think what you said, the that Vex mode. I remember the name of the season. It was Season of the Undying. It was like the season that
Yeah.
came with Shadowkeep.
Yeah, I'll Google it real quick.
Yeah,
Season of Undying.
yeah. It's called like it's not called Interference because that was the thing from Arrivals. So I'm trying to remember.
Vex Offensives?
Vex Offensive. There it is. That's right. Vex Offensive
Um,
was that mode. Yeah, I think like you saying that like was like okay, yeah, this mode feels a little bit more on par with that. And that mode
mhm.
I thought was like not bad. But I think like in terms of like what you're doing moment to moment, and I think
Yeah.
it will help that like like I said, as weeks go on, we will get this in other areas with probably
Mhm.
potentially like other types of little things to do. Like they might slightly change up some of the like maybe like when you go into you'll see once we get into these final areas up and overload spawns.
Yeah. Um, but no, I personally like as like I really like that Vex thing. I know it wasn't like the best, but it was still kind of fun. I had a
Yeah,
lot of fun like
yeah.
playing it.
It was.
Um,
It was a pretty fun mode.
um, and also,
I
wyverns can just suck my whole dick. I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
wyverns. They're like, I will talk a lot of shit about how much I hate the Cabal and just like how boring, like quote unquote boring, their designs are to me.
Right.
Wyverns are just frustrating on a very like
Yeah.
spiritual. Like
Yeah. You
they
have to.
bother my core.
Yeah. You have to learn. Yeah. They're definitely like an enemy you have to kind of learn to fight. Because I feel like a lot of things people don't know about the wyverns is that when they leap, when they kind of like go up into the air to do that lunge attack, you can shoot them while they're doing that and knock them out of it.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Um, so, but yeah, they're still like they still can be a pain in the ass for sure though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, and I think ultimately like I did enjoy going back to the Vex offensive. Like I think I enjoyed that mode too, but I can see the case of like it was kind of just that like zone with like the same with like I think like the only thing that was different was there was a different boss at the end.
Yeah, and
Um,
which is fine.
but I could see like
Pers-
I could see people who are like playing this game a lot would get
Mhm.
probably pretty tired of fighting the like doing that having to do that over and over again to like get various rewards or things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I like for me, I really liked how um, that like
Okay,
mode
good.
was. It was very cool. It was
Yeah.
like, hey, it's very like
Now we get to this cool part where we go into the digital world.
we're jacking in,
That's right.
because then we're gonna jack off the Vex. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what we're doing. We're gonna jack off this big Vex guy at the end.
Um, yeah. So my first run of this mode was a successful one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, have you had any successful runs of this yet, or no?
Yeah, pretty much everyone I've
Oh,
done so far. Like I've not really seen a failure of it.
okay.
Really? Oh, this disappears. I always forget that.
Um, yeah, I think because of how the timing works on it, like everything like resets, like that timer resets every time. I think it really helps players get to this end state more.
Yeah, and I
Um,
honestly like we're just jumping into this
mhm.
as at like a base power level. As we get higher in power, like I feel like this is already pretty easy, which like not necessarily a bad thing, but like I
Yeah,
definitely think um like maybe some kind of more challenging version of this would be interesting to see. But I think this is just a seasonal activity. Like I think that'll probably
hmm
not be the case, and this will just be how it is. But just fine in the end because I'm still enjoying it, and I'm at least happy
yeah,
to see that like again there will be other different uh, levels where that starts. Like there's going to be one on the moon, and there's going to be one on the Tangled Shore.
which is
Uh,
gonna be rad.
yeah, which is cool. So I'm assuming like at least like the opening bits that we just did will be different, and maybe this boss encounter might be maybe different potentially too, which would be cool.
Yeah, I think the boss fight it should be different if it's played quote unquote level.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I would guess too. But I guess we'll see in a week from now.
mhm.
But yeah, this is kind of your boss fights. We got Tacitus.
Bacchus,
Basically,
yeah.
yeah, it's like a big wyvern in the center, and it's like multiple phases, and you'll
Mhm.
basically you're gonna take down a champion, and they drop an orb that dude's going to dunk. When
Yep.
he dunks in that thing, it gives us a buff called Splicer's Will, and then we can damage the boss with that stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
which is not like it's not a quick fight. It's not a fight you can blow through, which I like.
I mean,
Like granted, like
we're
you
blown.
guys are going through it, but
Yeah,
like when I did my first run, I was with all people at my light level at like 1250, and there's maybe like one person at 1300. So
sure,
this fight took us like 15-20 minutes, um, and that was actually kind of fun. I
sure.
but I can see that like blowing through it is going to be not a big deal for y'all. But I'm
Yeah,
sure
yeah. Like
the difficulty will ramp up.
as we get deeper in the season, I'm sure this will definitely become a little bit easier, which is fine. But I think it's always fun to have like compared to like having a bunch of activities in Destiny. Like this is a different activity compared to a lot of the other ones in the game right now. And like six
Yeah,
players are always like a fun thing. So there we go. We melted that guy.
yeah.
And then we get chests at the end.
Yep, you get 2
And
chests.
similar to Chosen, there's a chest you can just pull from. Okay, cool. That's I got a scout, I think. And then you
Yeah.
can use key codes from this other thing to then pull an extra loot piece of loot from that, which I did.
Mhm.
Let's see. I got a scout. Yeah, scout rifle. Cool.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah, what's
Um,
growth? Outlaw, Eye of the Storm. That's okay.
um, but no, I think um, this is a very cool season. And I think even like considering the aesthetic of this mode, it's yeah, I don't like those masks. I looked at them. Um,
It's okay, but yeah,
um,
I'm not my style much either. Um,
yeah.
yeah, like it's I like this mode. It's pretty fun. I'm curious to see when once we have all of them. I'm curious
Hmm.
to just kind of see it as a whole. But initial impressions, which is here, because again, it's just day one of the season.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's cool. A
Yeah.
cool aesthetic. Fun to
Mhm.
have like a group of 6, and you can just and it's just kind of chaotic in that sense.
Yeah, and it's I think that's why it's like for me it's really fun is because like to go back to that Vex season of the Undying, we haven't really personally I haven't seen a cool like aesthetic like this since then. Like for the whatchamacallit, the that season it was like this overgrown like nature retaking its thing versus this and it's that's very cool. I got that one too and it's very cool.
Yeah, that's
Um
cool.
but I always have to I always have to rock my Destiny 1 banner always.
That's fair.
So you gotta be like, I'm one of these guys.
Yeah,
Actually, I've been here. I've been here since
you
day
gotta let
one.
them know. So let's go. The next part of the quest is go talk to Akora. Akora
Hmm.
is, yeah, yeah. Speak. We spoke a little bit about some of the story stuff, but I guess
Yeah.
give people I guess an overarching idea of the seasonal story. Basically, the Vex have put a like a simulation over the last city
Hmm.
on Earth, basically where basically all the remaining humans and guardians are, and like send it into eternal darkness, and they have no idea how to solve it. So then they find Mithrax, who's this fallen who has kind of broken from a lot of the other leagues of fallen and is still kind of wanting to believe in the traveler and that big guy, of course. And basically, he's made his own house in the House of Light, and like a lot of his people
Hmm.
coming into him are refugees, kind of left over from the stuff from Beyond Light, and other like moments and various effects stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that as well. One cool thing you can see here on Banshee as an update this season is he has weapons now.
Hmm. Hey, Mike.
Surprised that the weaponsmith actually has weapons.
I know, and it's rad because they haven't done this since Destiny 1. Hey, Mike, I just checked Bungie Help Twitter, and
Uh,
it's
oh, they resolved it.
yeah.
Excellent.
So,
That's exciting to hear. But yeah, basically now starting with this
God,
season,
Mike, you have so many gun parts. God.
yeah, that's
Oh,
yeah. You want to see the real shit? Hold on.
I want to see your vault, bro. I want to see this.
I you said I had a lot, but I just vaulted another stack of 9,000. I have 2 stacks
Bro,
of.
you have. Oh my God.
I have
Like,
two more stacks. I keep at least one of each
mhm.
legendary exotic. And then I've been keeping, starting these more recent seasons. I've been keeping some various
Purple.
guns, just like hey, yeah, he's pretty good. Like I have a couple of bottom dollars. I have a couple of the Depth Shadow prices from doing GMs.
I used to have so much stuff in my vault. Um, but now that it's like whatchamacallit. Um whatchamacallit. Now that like all my stuff got sunsetted, it's like, oh yeah, I don't.
Yeah, you can just delete all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's go here. Ikora's here. She's back. Yeah, like a lot of characters are back, kind of in the story again. Namely, Ikora, I think, was kind of like the biggest outlier.
Hmm.
To pretty much just say it right here of like, yeah, I've been away for a while since literally
Yeah.
like like more than an expansion ago.
Hmm. Yeah, because she wasn't really involved in Beyond Light.
No, she like the last time she was here was she was in Shadowkeep, I think.
Hmm.
but I don't think she was in any of the seasons after that. And then yeah.
But if Osiris hadn't suggested we contact Mithrax directly, all our outreach could have been wasted. Guardian, we are all made to believe that loss is how we grow.
But I'm really
It took me
like the stuff that they do with Ikora and like I think Shadowkeep with like her and Eris is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like don't get me wrong, I love fuck, what's his name? Shit.
Cyrus.
Oh, Osiris and Zavala.
Right.
I like Zavala a lot as a character because he's very much like, I don't know what the right thing to do is anymore because so much is, you know what I mean, is like,
yeah,
it's so up in the air.
Yeah, I mean, like spoilers for the end of the last season, but that's kind of was like a penultimate moment for that for sure. Was you basically at the end of the season, like Zavala was kind of going back and forth with Kydal about an allegiance, and like from Kydal's standpoint, she wanted basically like the Guardians to serve the Cabal, but the Zavala wanted to stand as equals, and that's kind of what the whole season of the Chosen kind of started upon. But basically, like at the end of that, you get to a truce. But in that truce, like a rogue faction of the Cabal, like basically infiltrate the ceremony of them to get truce and try and assassinate Zavala. It's like a whole cutscene where like Zavala gets his ghost shot and he gets stunned and knocked to the ground. He loses his light. A Scion goes to like murder him, and then Crow, who's masked, and Zavala does not know he is Crow, who was once Uldren Sov, the killer of Kate 6, saves him, but gets his mask cut off in the process, and then the cutscene ends with Crow, like Zavala being like, "Are you okay?" to the Crow, and he turns around and reveals his face and goes, it just says, "I'm alive" to him, and Zavala sees that it's him, and it's like, holy shit, he's a Guardian now. What the hell? Now I have to ally with this person because he's one of us. So it's a really interesting, plot point for like in like Zavala of like having to question even his like, oh shit, Guardians are his protectors, but now I have to be with this person that like was killed one of my closest allies before. So I'm curious to see how that continues to unfold. There's not, so far at least, it doesn't seem like there's as much of that Crow stuff in here, maybe just a little bit. I feel like that'll be maybe more so closer to the major expansion, Witch Queen, next year. But
it's definitely even a lot for Crow to do something interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, another big thing this season that they have introduced and like kind of was met with a lot of ire from the community is Transmog, or armor synthesis, as they refer to it here. Ada One, you can see is back. She was from Black Armory right after Forsaken came out, which is a cool setup. But basically now, via her, I already did the intro quests on my other character, so it looks like it's just you pick up a bounty, which gets you Synstrand, and Synstrand I think you use to make one of the things to actually make a piece of armor ornament. But for doing those intro quests, you do. They do just give you some to use, which is pretty nice.
Okay.
And she also now sells a set of armor, and this will rotate every week. And she also sells mods. I think the mods might change daily. I'm not sure.
And I think there was some kerfluffle with Transmog too, because you can do it with silver as well as
so
basically
you can only
do like 10 per season too.
Yeah, so basically with this current season that they're introducing it, you can do basically 20 pieces of armor, like 20 single pieces of armor, make them Transmog this season just on its own. Other seasons it'll be 10. Maybe they might up it still. We don't really know. But if you want to post those pieces, then you are going to have to spend actual money to bypass that. And a lot of people are not the biggest fan of that because, like, if you really look at it in the grand scheme of things, like, there's more than 10 pieces of armor on that screen, and that's just like one. So there's more. There's a lot of armor sets in Destinies now history since 2017, so people are not the biggest fans of it. I personally understand why they maybe put a limit on it, because otherwise people would go nuts and then grind out as much as they can and go crazy. And also they, you know, Destiny has always been a fashion. There's always been a little bit of a fashion component in Destiny, in my opinion, that I like a lot.
Yep.
Like you can see, I got a whole fit from my hunter that I like quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always a thing I get into. So I understand why that's like an end game thing they want to put. But anyway, let's jump into this. A new whole customization thing was added alongside Transmog, which is pretty dope. So you can see here's my each individual armor piece. You can see here's the ornaments I have on. And then you can see there's shaders. If I go here, I can preview them. But you can see for 2500, I can just hit apply, and it applies the shader to my entire set, which is pretty dope. Shaders also are not consumables now. Like I'll go show that. Like, see, the inventory space for them is just gone. So when you pick up a shader, it is just unlocked, and you just have it. Period. You don't have to like purchase multiples of them out of collections. They're just here in this menu now, and that's how you put shaders on. Like, there's no more having to go into collections to grab them and then previewing them there, then trying to preview them again in other spaces, doing a whole bunch of stuff. You don't have to do that anymore, and that's really nice already. So let's go into a piece of armor here. So go my helmet. See, there's my shader again, or I can go into here, and here's all the things. So you can see I have already a bunch of these. These are pretty much armor ornaments in the game already that I probably just bought or got from seasons. Playing through seasons. Like there's one of the Solstice ones, which is pretty dope. The Guardian games just happened. That's the one from the Guardian games. But you can see here's just a bunch of old armor from Destiny 2's history. Like here's the old Crucible helmet. I think this was from Mercury.
Yep, that set on the hunter is just very good.
Yeah, so there's like a whole bunch of stuff. You can see they're locked, but I have synthwave straps. So I actually have, again, I did the intro transmog or armor synthesis mission quest for Ada, which gives you like 5 or 6, and then you do the kind of intro missions for the actual season of the Splicer. It's like Way of the Splicer or whatever it's called. And you get some more. So you can see I have 11 synthwave straps for my hunter, and then the red ones are 11 for my Titan, and I already used a bunch on my Warlock because that's what I was playing earlier. So you can see I can just go through these, and like here I like I'll go pick this deal. I like this helmet. This helmet's dope. Unlock it. And now it's just a transmog option for me on any piece of armor going forward. I can use this one. Let's do it. There's the Forsaken one. That one's pretty cool. I like that one. Yeah, and you can just go through a bunch of these. I can go to capes. Look through all the capes.
Capes are rad. Big fan of capes.
Yeah, capes are fun. I kind of like I'm starting to really dig these capeless ones, or the hoodless ones, I mean.
Oh, nice.
This was actually from that Vex season, was this one where it was one of the seasonal ornaments that you could get on the season pass, and I made sure to get that one that season because I really like the non-cape ones. I'll just get a couple of these. Why not? But ultimately, there's a much more elaborate system now to fully deck out a character, and I think like by and large it's like a relatively decent system, minus the you are going to have to grind, after these initial 11 or so, you're probably going to have to grind for some of this stuff if you want it. But, also, that's for like people like me who have put in literal thousands of hours into this game and have collected a lot of armor over its multiple years. Or somebody who's not played as much might not have this many pieces of armor to choose from, or might already have like a set they like from ornaments, and just they're good. But I think it's still cool for them to have added it.
I'm happy that it's in. I think for me the biggest thing is shaders being kind of universal now.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really great.
because there's always like my favorite like look in Destiny, quote unquote, is it came from that season of Undying. It's like this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up the shader. It's like, oh no, it came from the Mercury one, where it's kind of like, hey, you have to like, it's called the Second Vex Chrome, and it's like this rusted bronze look that's just really rad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm just happy that shaders are now again like Destiny One, kind of like universal.
Yeah, yeah. It's a good change. I think they'll have to relook at some of the um kind of grinding and ways of acquiring stuff as the season goes on. And I don't know if there'll be a fix immediately this season. It might not be till like next season, or even like the big expansion next year. But I'm sure this is just the first implementation of transmog in this game, and I don't see it being a system that's going away anytime soon. Like it seems like
Yeah,
a pretty fundamental addition to this game, which I'm glad is here. But yeah, they'll have to work the kinks out of it a little bit. So
yeah. I
let's head
think
back to the helm for now, because I think this is the last part of the little story mission we have here. I think. So let's go. Yep, let's check out this hollow projector, shall we?
shall we? Cool story stuff here.
When I requisitioned this transmitter, I was told the helm would be a secure
That's right.
location.
Yep, like we
I
said,
suppose this
Lakshmi is back
Greetings, Guardian.
from the future war cult,
I'm Lakshmi
Mhm.
II of the future war call.
and I'm not even going to attempt to say the actress's name because she has a very elaborate name, but you might recognize her voice because she's been in a lot of like, she has a very recognizable voice, and like more so recently she's in the TV series The Expanse, which is very good, like sci-fi kind of space novella TV series that's on Amazon Prime, I think now. It's got moved around. It's very good, and
Yeah,
she's in that as well, and she's really good in that. So it's cool that they got her back because I think she is like the one. She has like such a distinct voice that like it would have been super weird if they got her back. But honestly, also to be completely honest, it's been so long since this character has been in the game that I forgot that was like the lady who voiced her, this character.
yeah. I think it's. I personally am happy to see more of these like more like Destiny One characters in,
Mhm.
because it's something that like we haven't seen anything that's happening with New Monarchy or Dead Orbit really in
Yeah,
Destiny 2. So it's cool that they're incorporating Future War Cult, which I'm pretty sure was the fan favorite next to Dead Orbit. New Monarchy got no love, but they
Yeah.
were fascist, so it was like it's fine.
yeah, makes
Um,
sense. Yeah, because it was kind of weird because like I jumped in with Destiny 2, so like these characters were in the game, but they did not seem like immediately present because I know there was like a whole faction thing when
Mhm.
Destiny 2 launched that they tried to do, and I guess it just did not really take off, and I think they just like scrapped it by the time Forsaken came around. So it's
Yeah.
just a thing of like I remembered these characters, but I didn't remember them like, but they didn't really have like a big story presence, at least in Destiny 2. So like just like seeing this character come back was just like, oh, sure.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's cool because we also with Lakshmi 2 coming back, we also get Ikora coming back too. So
Excellent.
it is very cool.
So yeah, so let me buy some of these upgrades. So this Splicer Gauntlet is a similar system to how like they've been doing with the past couple of Destiny 2 updates with like the Cabal champion, like the hammer stuff, and or the war table, I think is more so what it was. And they also did like Varric sabotages where you're basically like upgrading the like drop chances and like what you can get out of various activities you're going to be doing. So like here's an upgrade that's like this makes the lasers and wall defenses that can be seen in the Vex network, which is the override mode, like less effective and less do less damage on you. You can also have like override chests have increased awards. I definitely want to do that. Additional platforms can now be used in the Vex network. That seems pretty useful. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that one. Yeah, and so you'll upgrade. Just so you see, these are like a little bit more costly. You can upgrade the amount of like stuff you get out of those. And these just seem like they're like they're just locked off as they'll probably be things you unlock later in the mission, or later as like the season expands. So that's pretty cool. Let's see. So that's the mission for this week. Yeah, we ran the objective there, the override new activity there. So let me see. I think we covered a majority of it. Seasonal challenges are back. They started last season. They're more like each week they'll open up. And these are pretty nice and reward a lot of XP. Like that's kind of what you want to do now for that stuff. There's a new exotic, which I don't know if I can pick it up on my character because I already picked it up on my warlock. But it's like it's a sidearm that basically like you have to get kills with it, which then gives you like a timed like charged burst. Because basically you'll get kills just by firing it, and then it'll give you like hey, LN2 burst is ready, and it'll give you like a countdown, and within that countdown you can hold the trigger down, and it takes all the ammo left in the magazine and shoots a stasis shot that'll freeze an enemy.
Interesting.
So it's a cool idea, and they clearly also made it like kind of work in a way so it's not super ridiculous in the Crucible, which is
important because
definitely
the Crucible's broken.
Yeah, Crucible's still not ideal. So let's go get here's an engram for a Splicer armor, and then just a general weapon. You can see now they also auto decrypt right there. And
which is very nice.
I keep forgetting that, and then I don't see what I get. There you go. I got that auto rifle. That's pretty exciting. I want to check that out.
Rad.
Tunnel Vision's a new perk for the season, which is pretty cool. Reloading after defeating a target greatly increases target acquisition. Yeah, that's pretty useful. That seems more like a thing for like a sniper potentially. And Thresh has been good. And then I
think that's a good perk for like a scout rifle too.
And cannon, which I don't really use, so I'm gonna scrap. But yeah, that's kind of largely the initial stuff. Oh, actually, we can go one more place. This is generally, but before we go here, because this I kind of don't want to like. This is like a cool moment that I wouldn't want to spoil for some people. So if you're like deep into Destiny again, like if you play a lot of Destiny 2 and specifically played a lot of the raids, it's like particularly some of the raids that got sunset. This area, you'll immediately recognize this area, and there's a lot of cool stuff in here. The first time you go to it, so I highly recommend if you're playing this season, just go check it out for yourself and don't check it out here, or just if you haven't yet and you're watching this video and you want to jump in and you haven't yet, I would say maybe jump out now because I think overall the season has a cool start. Yeah, it seems pretty promising from what's coming down the road. Like more overrides that are in different zones sound cool. There's like a weekly pinnacle mission they're calling Expunge, which we don't really know anything about, which sounds interesting. I'm really interested to see what that is. That also seems like there's a thing that that'll change and update over the weeks, similar to potentially how Presage worked last season for folks who are familiar with that. And also a big thing is there's a raid. They're bringing back the Vault class May 22nd from Destiny 1, and they're putting in this game. And it's going to be different. You can actually honestly already go look through some of the collections and see some stuff. Like, I'll see what's this gun under, because I don't honestly know. Or might actually be in the game here, but I saw on some other like Destiny, whatchamacallit, Destiny like apps like GG and some other things that like there are a lot of the weapons you knew and love from the Vault are in there. Maybe not all of them. Cool. maybe not all of them, which will be maybe unfortunate to some folks, but a vast majority of them are there. And like maybe let's say the exotic that everyone knows from that that they've already talked about preseason. I mean, they already talked about preseason. Vex Mythoclast is in the game. You're probably going to get it from that raid. So that's cool.
Yeah. It's the Vex Mythoclast is one of the exotics in gotten like 3 times. And I was just like, cool, I don't use, this was like, that's when I was playing Destiny 1, I didn't use fusion rifles.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, oh, this gun just does not suit my needs. Then I got the Mida multi-tool, and I was like, cool, this is the only gun I'm ever going to need in this game.
Yeah. So yeah, this area, just to you know, I know you've seen it, Quinn, but I know for your reference, you probably don't know this area, but this was a final boss room for one of the raids that got sunset. There was a raid in Destiny 2 called Scourge of the Past, which had you like basically like the Fallen had broken into breaking into a part of the last city, had a bunch of black armory zones. Like we're basically like, this is like this big, when you beat the boss, this big gate opens and drops into a big armory where you're like, oh, like, which is at the end of the raid, and you open up chests and get like raid loot and stuff. That this whole area is that final encounter. This is the boss.
Oh,
this
is
red. This is what is his fucking name? Something Prime. You can see we murdered him, and we murdered the thing inside of him. But yes, when you spoilers for this opening sequence, when you first come here. Basically, Ikora has let Mithrax and his House of Light refugees basically take up mantle here. You basically spawn in here, and Osiris and Lakshmi and Mithrax are talking here, and they talk about everyone being here, and letting them kind of stay here. So basically, as you can see, there's some interactables, which I'll get to in a second. But you can see, it's a whole refugee camp of Fallen in this.
And Mike, there's fallen babies in this camp.
Yeah, let's see. We can go check out this. Yeah, we can hang with this person. We got little babies.
That's like the first thing I did when I got here. I was like, I found an audio log, and I was like, oh, some cool world building. I really like that. Spoilers, it's Mithrax's daughter giving you the audio logs.
Yes,
correct.
Ido.
And yeah, Ido. And then I saw the baby falling. Oh, baby falling.
Yeah. So like there's just like a lot of the granted, like if you're a Destiny person who has like followed the lore for like years and maybe like watched a lot of Bife videos, a lot of the things in these interactables are things you've probably already like heard, or like at least kind of like a lot of things that were referenced to previously. And like it's just, but like even with that though, it's just cool that it's here in the video game. Which is like something that like Destiny does not do a lot of like, here's just a zone I can just go into, and it gives me lore and like builds this world more, and I can see like a zone with it in it. Like that's what's so cool about this. They did some of that in Season of the Chosen too, and it's great.
Yeah, it's this. Like I said earlier, I think this season really does a great job at world building.
Yeah,
and like really building it out, and it's the vision. You can actually see the vision fully, and with this season one, which is so fucking rad.
They've been building on this kind of stuff like with these past couples, with Chosen in this season, and like it seems like they know what they know. Like you said, like there's more of a direct vision of like how they want to present the world of Destiny and present its story, and that's very exciting from a longtime fan, and I'm super stoked to have like another full couple weeks full of like logging in on Tuesdays or when Tuesdays, seeing the next story bits, seeing like probably if this area is here, we'll probably come back here for something else, which is cool.
Yeah,
and that's just cool. I'll again, I don't want to do every single of these interactables. I'll let people kind of explore this stuff on their own.
Yeah,
but
I would definitely encourage people to do it.
Yes, absolutely. It's a really cool use of this zone again, because this this boss here was a motherfucker. this big robot boy was a
Mhm.
motherfucker. But it was it's cool that like it's one of those things where like I don't think anybody expected to see this area again. Frankly, in some regards, that's like really fucking cool that it's just kind of here.
Yeah, and I think for me too, it's the idea, the fact that we can come back to this zone anytime we want. It's not a one-time zone.
Yeah,
Really shows that hey, maybe they're gonna use this environment more.
yeah. Like
And
you will probably come back here for story bits later this season.
Mhm.
It seems that, and that's pretty cool.
and it's really cool because so much of Destiny is, hey, the traveler went left the fallen and like to whatchamacallit, like humanity, because for some fucking odd reason that's humanity, I guess. um w- um but it's cool seeing that like the fallen are here, because this is the first time that we've actually seen, besides the stuff in the Red War with Gaul, like actually like attacking the travel. Um,
Hmm.
there is actually some kind of like more multicultural extraterrestrial life happening on Earth. Like we
Yeah.
see all these fallen.
Yes.
Granted, they're just like in idle animations, but it's
Yes.
still that
You're
fact where
you're
it's
see, you're
very
see, you're
cool.
seeing them as like a race of like you're seeing them as a race and not just like things you're shooting.
Mhm. Yeah,
Which yeah, like they're which is really cool and like good to finally see just in the proper video game, because like a lot of it has just been like in a bunch of lore texts.
yeah,
And it's like granted all that stuff is still interesting to read and think about, but it's like
yeah,
like but I think the power of just like here we're just here now seeing it all
yeah.
like is way can be way more powerful, and I think them finally like figuring out ways to do that
Hmm.
that makes sense in this game is awesome. And yeah, I can't wait to see more. But yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's gonna do it for this viewpoints
Hmm.
of season of Splicer. Yeah, we're the day this goes up, or probably soon after this, we're probably gonna hopefully try and stream some of it.
Hmm.
Hopefully the issues you're having are fully resolved and we can all get into some
Yes.
activities together. Um, and then I'm more than sure we have a group of 6 already to run the raid when it comes out on the
Yes.
22nd. So we'll probably be streaming that as well when that happens. Yeah. But for now, yeah. Thanks Quinn for joining me. I'm gonna hang out on this robot.
Thank you for letting me take my head down and having my eyes up, Mike. You know what I mean?
Yeah, eyes up, Guardians. I'm gonna dance on this robot.
Go for it, bro. If I was with you, I'd be doing my pumping iron thing.
Excellent. Excellent. Glad you're not here then. Anyway, bye everyone.
Bye.